one of my favorite places in Kyoto. When you're out and about, you're problem solving. Finding anything that can stabilize your camera is a good thing, especially when you have lower shutter speeds. The sunset's looking really good here, so let's try it. Okay, I got it lined up. Do I have, wait, check the Q mode. Do I have it? Okay, I'm gonna turn on the self timer. All right, line it up, hands off. But of course, sometimes you don't have a towel or other things will work. So here's my ear pod thingies. Give it an angle like that. Same thing as before, hands off. All right, anything works. Whatever you got in your pocket. I got a coin purse, I got keys. I've used all of these before at some point or another. Jackknife, but right now that's what's working. Also, make sure you don't leave anything behind. Okay, so here's the deal. You're out and about taking pictures. It's getting dark and you see a shot that you want to take, but you don't have a tripod and it's going to have a really low shutter speed. What do? Hi, my name's Paul Cross. I'm a professional photographer based here in Kyoto, Japan. What I'm going to do in this video is show you a very simple technique how you can get low light pictures without a tripod. It's really basically a simple thing. You just find anything you can brace the camera on to get the shot. And what I'm also going to do in this video is I'm going to show you 3 different pictures and walk you through how I got the images using this same technique. Right now I'm in a place called Kurodani, which is a temple complex on a hillside here in Kyoto, Japan. And those of you who don't know, Kyoto is the ancient imperial capital of Japan, meaning the emperor lived here for about 1,000 years. This is actually one of my favorite places in Kyoto. Not a very famous place, but I think it has a really good vibe, and I come here a lot just to hang out or watch the sunset or take pictures or whatever. This spot right here, I've seen them used in samurai dramas. Yes, you have to make sure that you have a sword fight before you take the pictures. So usually I carry this camera, my X100T, with me when I'm going out and about. I really like this camera. I love this camera actually. It's small and I can take it anywhere. I just get sick and tired of carrying stuff around. I really don't like carrying tripods, says the guy who's looking at a camera that's sitting on a tripod right now. It's video. What are you gonna do, huh? One of the things that's good about limiting yourself with a single prime lens like this is it forces you to think about your pictures. If you have a bunch of zoom lenses or whatever, you know, you can get any shot you want because you've got all these options that you can use, but you're lugging a whole bunch of gear on it. So you're not necessarily going to be able to get every shot, and that's perfectly fine. And once you let go of that is, oh, I can't get that shot because I don't have this big zoom lens. Okay, when I'm going out and taking these kind of pictures to feed Instagram, I just need one good frame. That's all I need. This is a place I've been to. I've lived in Japan for 27 years. I've been to this place many, many, many times. I've taken a lot of the obvious pictures and not so obvious pictures. So I'm always looking for something new. Always trying to get a better shot, a different kind of image. Back when I was a newspaper photographer in Michigan in the 80s and 90s, there was an insult the other photographers would say to each other. You look at the picture and they go, oh, great postcard, meaning that any competent photographer can get the postcard picture. Can you get an image that's beyond that? So here's the shot I got. This is crescent moon and Venus setting just over here. It was taken in September and it was a beautiful evening. There's a cemetery with a hill on it just up there. And it usually gives me quite a good view seeing the sunset over the city. When I was up on the hill, I was trying to get some shots. Look, I saw the moon and Venus and how they were setting, and the sun had already set. It was right at dusk. And so I knew there was a great shot, but I wasn't in the right situation. So I started moving. Because a picture like that, if you just get a picture of, even if I had a long lens, if you just get a picture of Venus and the moon in the sky, it's just basically 2 dots. So not that interesting. With a picture like that, it needs some sort of context. So what I did is I walked down the hill and I went and took some pictures until I found the spot right over here I was shooting from in that direction. Let's go over here. So I'd finally found my spot. The moon and Venus were just over in this direction. The problem was, it's dark. And all I had was my X100T. I didn't have any tripod because I don't want to carry a whole bunch of junk with me. So I would need something somehow to brace the camera. But that's not going to work. The key to doing these kind of shots is use whatever you got. I always carry a towel, hand towel with me for wiping off sweat or whatever. So what I did was I put the towel here like this. Now I had to futz around a little bit to find what's right. And there you go. The camera settings. There are 2 things. One is AE bracketing. And what that does is it takes 3 different shots, one right on the money, one a little bit brighter, one a little bit darker. I set it at plus or minus 2/3. I found with my Fuji cameras, 2/3 is a good setting for this. I actually mostly use this when I'm shooting JPEGs, because when I'm out and about, I can't always see if I got the right exposure by looking at the back of the camera. Okay, the second thing I did, I went into the Q menu and turned on the self timer to 2 seconds. I also had set the autofocus to manual focus, so I made sure it looked good in the frame. I lined it up, and I took some pictures. 3 shots. And then I changed my apertures. I probably went 2, 2.8, 4, 5.68. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a whole bunch of different shots of the same thing, but I'm using the AE bracketing, auto exposure bracketing, and then I'm bracketing the apertures, meaning I'm shooting at a different aperture each time. This gives me a whole bunch of different frames to choose from. I'd rather have a whole bunch of frames to choose from than only shoot one frame and go, oh gosh, I didn't get it. Let's review. Put your camera down so it doesn't fall over. Check the focus by pressing the rear command dial. Set the focus with the AFL button. Confirm the AE bracketing. Confirm the self timer. Then press the shutter and don't bump the camera. At this point, you can change the exposure compensation or the aperture. And of course, one of the things I do is to make sure I've got the frame. And I look through them. I notice when I'm doing workshops, a lot of times people don't look at their pictures. It's like, well, look at your pictures when you take them. Okay, maybe I do the whole bracketing and look through the series and then go back and look at it and make sure I've got it. Back in the film days, I would have killed to be able to look at the picture to know that I got it. So remember, shoot a lot and edit ruthlessly. Once I've looked through the frames to make sure I've got quite a few frames that I like, I stop taking pictures and enjoy the view. Now that's something really important I think a lot of people miss when they're taking pictures, is they get so absorbed in taking the pictures or looking at their phone. It's like, be in the moment, all right? Photography can be a great way for you to go out into the world and to see things you'd never see before. But, remember, the picture is not that important. When you get to the end of your life, when you're laying in your deathbed, you're not going to be worrying about the pictures that you took, but all the experiences you had in life. That's really what's important. Here's the second image I want to show you using the same technique. This is at a place called Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto. It's a Shinto shrine that's very famous for having thousands of these orange torii gates going up a trail up the mountainside. My client decided to extend their tour into the evening, so I hadn't planned on going to Fushimi Inari at night, so I didn't have a tripod with me. I was looking for some way to get these images because the shutter speed handheld was too slow, and I came up with the idea of putting the camera right on the ground. I had nothing else to use, and I went through my pockets and I found my coin purse, which I stuffed underneath the lens to sort of point the camera upward, and then I used the self timer to keep the camera steady. Now I couldn't see through the back of the screen because it's on the ground and it wasn't a flippy screen, so I had to guess. I just kind of line the camera up and take the pictures and look at the back. If it works right, great. If it's not, try moving the camera around again until I got the shot. A lot of photography is problem solving. You're trying to get a specific image with the equipment that you have. And here's a third shot I want to show you. It was taken this past winter at a place called Sagi no Mori Shrine here in Kyoto, which is on my usual walking route. It rarely snows here, so it's pretty nice when it happens. It was a wet, heavy kind of snowfall with big flakes. As always, I kept my eye open for good shots. As I approached this torii gate, I noticed the street light looked pretty cool shining from behind that crossbeam. It nicely backlit the snowflakes. I didn't have a tripod with me, so I started looking around for a place to brace my camera. I found a stone lantern that worked. I put my X100T in the shade of the crossbeam, which blocked the light bulb. I knew that would give a pretty nasty flare. I tried to protect my camera as best as I could from the snow since the camera's not weather sealed. I made sure to wipe it off often and keep the lens clear. When I wasn't shooting, I stuffed it in my jacket. I shot at both f2 and 2.8 with the ISO manually set to 3200. Adjusting the exposure compensation dial gave me a variety of shutter speeds. The shorter shutter speeds looked better. My pick was at 1/6 of a second. Here's one at 1.2 seconds. It's pretty boring because the streaks are too long. And here's a look at how many shots I took. 64 frames. But remember, I was bracketing, so there are 3 frames for every shot. This is what the original unprocessed photo looked like, and here's the final processed version. Shooting RAW is especially useful in these sort of bad lighting situations. I made sure to dry off my camera before putting it in my backpack, and when I got home I aired it out. If you take care of your gear, it'll last for years. I hope this is helpful for you. If it has been, please hit like or subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below. All right? Thanks a lot. Bye. It's a nice sunset.